I'm sure that's just what they like.
It's going to be a reasonably busy day for Jayson Shaw. At the end of it, he could be almost in the top 10 players guaranteed for the next phase. That's if he wins all of his matches.
And this is going to be a nice split to open up this match for Jay. Got to be a little bit careful with this opening shot. He's probably going to try and draw right back off this side rail, kind of where he stood. Unless he can pinch a bit of the pocket. Oh, that was fine. I thought it was dead straight, so that's what I kind of meant, but he used the rail. That gave him so much margin for error.
He's got 3 contests today, Shaw. All of them quite stern, actually. We know that he plays David Al-Qaedi to conclude the day session on table 1, and then tonight he's up against Skylar Woodward. Hard to say how many match wins out of 15 you will need to make the top 10 in the table to retain your place in the tournament for the next phase. I reckon with 6 you're absolutely guaranteed, and with 5 you've got every chance of advancing.
Yeah, Jayson just landed on a funny little angle on that 3 ball, didn't he? So that's why he had to put a power draw stroke on it and tried to come off the top rail. Not quite judged it good enough. But it could have come out a little bit worse. At least he can just focus on the pot. 6 balls sat on the same side of the table. Well, I'm surprised he jacked up, to be honest. Whenever you jacked up, that means you're striking down on the cue ball. It's harder to sight the pot, and you're going to be playing it a little bit hard. Thought he might have just tried to roll it in and leave a long 6, but it's up to him. Good self, Phil.
Yeah, you're right about the alignment, Carl, of course, and also, if you're jacking up, it makes it more likely you're going to put unwanted side on the cue ball as well, which compromises the pot in itself.
But because he's been on a good run, often everything just looks dead easy, so obviously felt good taking that type of shot on. And where they finished, he's been a little bit fortunate. Looks like he's going to be playing a safety shot. Unusual safety shot there, trying to just bank the 5 up into a position behind the 7. You don't often see that type of safety shot, but it's quite well thought out. Jayson might be having a go at this one. Super thin. That's what he tried. Now, as long as the cue ball doesn't scratch, that's going to work out pretty good. Yeah, good shot. Tap of the table from Oi.
The first rack on table 2 is already in the books. Albin Aushin, 100% man so far. He's taking the opener against Kazakis.
I fancy going close to this, because if the cue ball's in this pocket near where his bridge hand is, just before the middle we right, you scratch. So he was always going to hit that ball. That was a good little guide, he would have known that. And obviously the rest is a case of a little bit of good fortune. At least he's making Jayson pot a ball rather than selling out and giving ball in hand. Well, these are not big pockets in your local pool room. These are dead on 4 inches. So that type of shot has got a whole different complexion in 9-ball pool now. You're not just going to get down and rip them balls in. But again, Phil, he's been a little bit fortunate, hasn't he?
It makes such a difference. Twice he's missed the 5, twice he's done no damage.
Now, Oi's turn to get a little bit of fortune. No, it sneaks his face out. So This rack has been all about this 5-ball. This will be Jayson's 4th attempt at potting this, and I fancy him for this one. Kind of funny when you're on a bit of a roll at pool. Everything seems to just go your way when you go for them crazy shots and you miss. You always seem to hook your opponent or certainly leave him safe.
Yes, and Shaw definitely is on a roll. The way he performed in the Mosconi Cup was encouraging. Made a stash of cash at the Derby City Classic, even though he didn't quite win one of the divisions, and he's away and running today. One has to say, though, he rode his luck in that rack. So let's just take a peek over on table 2, where I told you that Albin Aushin won the opening rack. Kazakis at the table here. Our first match on table 1 yesterday was a really lengthy affair between Albin Aushin and his fellow Austrian Maximilian Lechner. He can get stuck in, can Aushin, tactically, but he can also win matches smoothly. Just a versatile, fine player, basically.
Yeah, one of the best players in the world, without doubt. No surprise to see Albin at the top of the table. I know it's early on and things are going to change, but it would be no shock if he's finishes number 1 on the table. Of course, it doesn't matter whether you're number 1 or number 10. Suppose it's just bragging rights.
Yes, but if you do finish number 1 in this initial table, of course, points carry over. So then, when we go down from 10 players to 6, your chances of being in that group are increased as well. Well, that was a common theme from yesterday. Balls dropping in all over the place on the break. But then, for Oy, as it was in the opening rack, frustration. This time, his path to the 2 is blocked by the 6.
This could prove to be a tricky push out as well, just because of where all the balls are sat. 2 balls obviously sat on the side rail, so it's no use pushing anywhere up kind of towards the top end of the table, because you're going to leave a form of a pot on. You could push out into a position where maybe the cue ball's on the rail, so if you do pot the 2, you can't really get the cue ball back up. I think that's what he's going to do. Yeah, so there you can see, you can pot this ball, but how do you pot it and get on that 3 when the cue ball's on the rail? Well, he's feeling fruity, is Jayson Shaw, and he sees a different type of game to a lot of people. He's all about the exhibition shot. But this would be a little bit leery for this time of the day, Phil. It's a smart shot, needs it to slow up though. Needs that 2 ball to slow down. You were trying to glue the 2 on the side rail. It was a good option in the end. Just a little bit too powerful.
Shaw has built his reputation, which is considerable, on being a fine attacking player. Sometimes you could level the criticism that he's a little too attacking. But that's the aspect of the game with which he feels most at home. Oof. The 3 caught that near jaw and thought about it.
Yeah, it was all about the pace, really. Just the pace helped it in, and the fact that everything's brand new, so you get that little bit of slide. Naoyuki chalks his cue very violently, Phil. You can hear it, can't you? He's chalking his cue. He must go through a blocker match.
Yes, a vigorous chalker.
Of course, in pool players, most of the pool players, once they've chalked the cue, they just throw it down on the table. That's not something you see in the world of snooker.
There is the equaliser for Naoyuki, who, if he wins this match, goes to the top of the table with 4 points. He's loving life and enjoying being here at Premier League Pool.
Yeah, already, every time, no problem. All top player is die. This week, yeah, me go to the USA 2 months. Me study English, little bit, no level up, same level, unbelievable. Japan sponsoring the friend, my family. I want to win, please. Yeah, me, I want to. Yeah.
You know exactly what he means. They aren't really sentences, they're just individual words, but he gets his message across. A very engaging character, a really, really good guy.
Well, I'm glad one of us knew what he meant, Phil, because I didn't have a clue. Now he's a funny guy, Naoyuki. Always laughing and joking backstage.
When he plays in the World Cup of Pool, regardless of who is or his partner, he always gets them laughing. He must be even funnier in his native language.
Jayson Shaw's getting his rack underway. Very good breaker of the balls. There you could see the cue ball control. Been a little bit unfortunate. This is a very interesting situation. This is going to take a good thinker here, because wherever he pushes to, it's going to be one of them situations where you're going to leave something real easy and obvious that Naoyuki's probably going to play, or something where he's just going to think, not for me. Can he tie another ball up somewhere? Tricky spot.
Not just level here, by the way, over on table 2.
10 seconds.
Kazakis
Extension, please.
has won the second rack against Naoyuki. So that's 1-1 as well.
Push hot cold. Your choice, Naoyuki.
Just to explain with the push-out call, you can basically do anything, can't you?
Yeah, it does look at first glance as if the cue ball's just run on a little bit further than Jayson would have liked.
Play again, please, Jayson.
Yeah, we're going to say I don't really believe Naoyuki playing the jump shot is the way to go. Yeah, so Jayson didn't want to hook himself. The cue ball just ran a little bit too far. And now this is a tricky spot he's in. Can't play a jump bank because the 6 ball, the green 6, is in the way. So I think he's just going to try and draw the cue ball back. He's trying to play, not too sure. Well, over on table 2, Albin's just played a wonderful kick shot. That match is available on Matchroom.live.
10 seconds.
Extension, please.
I'm hearing a little later on in the day we might have the company of Albin in the commentary box.
Yeah, that was a good pot there from Oy. It's all about the cue ball. And he made a nice path to miss the 8 ball and come back up table. Now this is a little tricky, isn't it? Because there's not a big gap for the cue ball. He needs to get past the 8. I think he's just got there, Phil. That was real quick. I thought he'd gone right behind the 8 for at first glance, but looks like he's just come out far enough. Of course, on day 2 now, you'll expect all the players to be fully tuned in with the pace of the table. But there's no excuses today, Phil.
Absolutely not. Everyone has become accustomed to conditions now. The table is so fast, so responsive and reactive. And I like the colour of it, Cole. The ball seemed to stand out.
Yeah, I fully agree, Phil. I've got the actual same cloth at home and I sort of put it on my table just over a year ago. Kind of did it because I felt it would look good on my YouTube channel. It's modern, it's great, it's something different. I'm not saying Emily's copied my table for 1 second, but maybe she has a little bit. But one thing, what it does do, as a player when you're playing, everything looks so clear, every single ball. I always felt like on Tournament Blue, if you was on the 2 ball, it was hard work because it was pretty much the same colour.
Nothing hard work about that rack for Naoyuki, who after losing the opening rack, rather unluckily I thought, is now in front. He leads Jayson Shaw by 2 racks to 1. More pool after the break. Pool fans around the world, welcome back to Milton Keynes, where today it is grey, damp, miserable. Still winter here in the UK, so it's best to be inside watching this great game.
Some would say we've got the best seat in the house, Phil.
Yeah, watching 2 matches at once.
over on table 2, Kazakis has just found a golden break. There's been quite a few so far, and they've all been kicked in, so it's not like bad racking from the referees. It's just one of them things.
Yeah, the most notable golden break yesterday happened in the final match of the session in the daytime. Shane Van Bonen completed his 5-2 win over Skylar Woodward with a golden break that hurtled into the pocket.
Now is Naoyuki eyeing up the bank, or is he playing safe? Looks like he's playing safe to me, off the left edge. Yep, he is. Just needs the cue ball to slow down. He's over-egged it.
Always worth seeing a golden break. Here is the one from Kazakis. The 2 ball coming across, hitting the 9. In it goes. Minimum effort and maximum gain.
Yeah, it's a funny old story, the old debate of the golden break. It's always nice when you break and get one, of course. You feel good about that. But when you're on the receiving end, it hurts. Nice safety shot there from short.
Well, I would never want to outlaw golden breaks. Yes, you could say they're a little unfair, but they really do add to the excitement, don't they?
Extension, please.
Well, they certainly do in the Mosconi Cup. The crowd go wild when someone gets a golden break. As Nukio gets a short stick out, he's trying to jump over these 2 balls. He's going to hit the rail first. Now, I don't know if he's trying to go rail first and pot the 2, or is he trying to go rail first and probably kick it down table. Probably the second option. Yeah, that's what he's trying. A little bit unlucky. He wanted the 2 ball to miss the 4, just to leave distance. With it hitting the 4, it's gone over the side pocket. The 4 ball, there's a little bit of thinking to do with that. Jayson's going to have to get a nice angle on this red 3, and he's going to have to get up close to the side pocket in order to find the potting angle on the pink 4. This is the big shot coming up. If he can land just before the middle, that's going to help him. Then he doesn't have to flirt with danger. Yep, that's fine, so he can. There you see, he just stunned the cue ball right before that middle pocket, so he's got a nice angle now, and that was the key shot of this rack, you feel. Obviously, Jayson's played in a lot of Mosconi Cups now and in a lot of Matchroom events. But Phil, he's still searching for that singles win in a Matchroom event, which is pretty incredible. He lost in the final of the World Pool Masters a few years ago. Obviously, he's won the Mosconi, but talking about that singles win, obviously, Matchroom used to only have the Masters. Now they've got the World 9-ball, the US Open 9-ball, so Jayson wants to snap one of these Matchroom events off.
I think it's a matter of when, not if. So 2-2 there, and that's exactly the same scoreline over on table 2. The golden break from Kazakis we saw enabled him to tie the scores. So twice, Auschen has led 1-0 and 2-1. This, though, is a little awkward, this table.
Yep, you can see on the bottom left all them balls causing issues. But usually in pool, 1 or 2 good safety shots can often open the rack up.
struck this really nicely. But the chances of a run out, even for someone like him, who's at the top of the tree, the reigning world 9-ball champion, the chances of a run out are small. We'll keep you right up to date throughout the day on what's occurring on table 2. Now though, back to Shaw and Oi.
Not the worst result. The only thing that's happened there is he's going to be slightly awkward queuing over that 8, which is going to make getting on the pink 4 a little tricky. I don't think he can roll this in. If he can roll it in and kind of hit the top of the 9, the cue ball might float over towards the left side of the table. Now obviously Jayson's going to be behind the shot. If he can't do that, he might have to slightly jack down on this to stun and miss the 9. In an ideal world, they'd love to just pop this and kind of miss the 9 on the right hand side, but they couldn't do that, so he had to jack down. That was a lot better shot than it looked, let me tell you.
You might have heard there the 10-second warning given out. It's a 30-second shot clock in operation in these matches. And in each rack, a player has one extension of an additional 30 seconds. Even on tighter pockets, you can't imagine Shaw will miss this. And the lead has changed hands again. Naoyuki was 2-1 up. Now Jayson Shaw is in the ascendancy, narrowly, at 3-2. So while the balls are being racked, let's just take a glimpse over on table 2, where Albin Aushin has worked an opportunity. Nothing flash about Aushin. He's just so hard to beat.
Yeah, he's very cool and calm around the table, plays at a good rhythm, a rhythm that suits himself. Even if he's playing somebody really fast, he doesn't speed his game up. He's all about consistency. Over the years, he's really changed his game around as well, Phil. I remember when he first came on the scene, he was this little chubby Austrian. And when you were beating him, the cues would get thrown in the corner and he used to bang and punch the table.
Yes, and sometimes sportsmen don't change, do they? But he most certainly has. He still gets angry. But it's a simmering anger rather than something that's publicly displayed a lot. Although in the Championship League pool last year in the early stages, he couldn't disguise his annoyance. Well, he did clear up there, so Aushin leads Kazakis 3-2.
I think certainly when you're talking about pool where obviously there's an element of luck to win any pool tournament, that goes without saying. But I think there's got to come a point in a person's career where you've won big tournaments, you've achieved what you've achieved, where you've got to calm down a little bit, haven't you? Because it's all right people doing that after 5 or 10 years when they've not won anything and they're getting frustrated, but when you've got a CV there and it stacks up, I don't really see the need to be Mr. Angry all the time.
I know exactly what you're saying, but some people are, throughout their careers, Mr. Angry.
So he's going to have to thread the needle here after potting his purple 5. He's going to be landing the cue ball around the centre of the table, because he's going to have to get the cue ball travelling through in between the 9 and the 8. Needs this to bounce. He needs this to bounce. I don't think he's got there, Phil.
Well, technically that wasn't the most fluent stroke, was it? He jumped on that one, and even though the ball was potted, he just dug into the cue ball a little too much, and consequently,
Extension, please.
loss of position.
That was funny there, the camera, you could see Jayson in the background, and Jason's eyes was just absolutely glaring at Naoyuki's face, because, you know, as a player, you can just look at your opponent and their face is telling a story if they're on this ball or not. Well, he's tried to spin it in and it wasn't there, so it's a big mistake from Oi.
And a gigantic moment in the match. I think we have the glare from Shaw. Yeah, eagle eye.
The eagle has landed. He's got to bear down on this though. This is thinner than that camera angle is telling you. Cue ball's going to be flying around the table. He's played it slow. He's played it slow, and the 4-inch pocket just gives the mind a different thought process. He knows he's got to pot that clean. When you're playing in these club tables or some of the older events, you could pretty much just get down and whack that in. The pocket would swallow it up, but he knows he couldn't hit the bottom rail from that angle, and it is a mistake. It's been an interesting matchup so far, this one. Oh, he had to go rail first, and he's played a beauty. He would love this cue ball to slow down. Oh, this is a little tester, Phil.
The potential for movement under pressure. Real pressure shot.
He's got to stay still. Can't afford to hit the right hand rail. If this ball clips the right hand rail, it's not going to go in. It's just not going to go in anymore, Phil. These pockets used to swallow them up. I'm afraid not anymore, Naoyuki. You better go back home and work on that cue action, boy.
And the way you walk away from the table suggests that there's a path past the 9 to pot the 8, even if it's with a swerve.
10 seconds.
Well, he's going airborne, because this is a very easy jump shot at this level. Just pop it over like so, and he's played that nicely indeed. Interesting rack, that. This is what's so good about making the pockets a little bit tighter. You're going to see the players get faced with some more trickier pots, aren't you? So just going to create the little bit of drama that we need, Phil.
Yes, absolutely right. The decision to make these pockets tighter being vindicated in pretty much every match we're seeing so far. Maybe Naoyuki right now would disagree. Generally speaking, though, good move. It was a good move from Shaw as well. He now leads 4-2. instantaneous news here. It is not only 4-2 on table 1, it's also 4-2 over on table 2. Albin Auschen has just this second potted the 9-ball to take that 2-rack lead over Kazakis. So Shaw, 4-2 up, breaking on the hill, and then this happens.
Yes, the old dry break. Now he has an angle on this one, so he can't stop the cue ball from going up towards the table. And I think the cue ball, with a bit of left spin, would probably run in towards where the red 3 is, because he'd like to check it back down. Yeah, so this was the problem. He couldn't play it with the left. Needs us to keep going a little bit. It has to be said, it weren't the best of racks. The balls didn't really move anywhere, did they? A bit sluggish there from Mr. Lehman. You got to book your ideas up, pal.
So in this match, you've told Naoyuki he's got to improve his cue action. Now you're telling the referee he's got to improve.
You're next, Phil. You must improve.
Carl Boyes, CEO.
I'm in a cheeky little mood today. Is he going behind the 8? Oh, he's nearly scratched. That's actually a pretty good shot he's played there, because obviously the natural angle was going near the scratch. He's fighting for his life here, Nukio, in this match, and this is an awful shot. It's a thin pot, and it's very difficult to control the cue ball. Usually when you're coming back down table, you clatter into balls. Well, that is a brilliant shot.
I think the good thing there for Oi, he potted the very same ball into the very same pocket in a very same way earlier in the match. And when you've had a sighter, it does help matters.
Yeah, and to get the cue ball there to miss the 9 ball was phenomenal. This is an interesting shot. Is he just going to play a little drag shot off one rail, or is he going to use a couple of rails? He's tried to use a couple of rails, but he's hit it a little bit fat. Didn't want to be nowhere near the 6, and it's gone wrong.
No, they used it.
Yeah, he was just trying to pot it a little bit thinner, so the cue ball come back off the top rail for obviously the green 6 in the top right pocket. Is he having a go at a cross bank into the left centre? He is. Oh. He didn't get the cue ball out of the way, and that's gifted Shaw this point in this match. It's been quite a good match, Phil, hasn't it, really? It's had a bit of everything.
Yeah, lots of incidents. It's not been Shaw at his mesmerising best. But you have to believe he's going to get the job done.
So just these couple of balls for the Eagle Eye, and he gets day 2 underway with a nice start.
Yes, very agreeable for Scotland's finest ball player, Jayson Shaw. That's 3 wins out of 3 now.